Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to StarRupture. Today, I'm gonna show you how to make your factories so you will never have to redesign. Because when it comes to designing your factories after Rail 2, when Rail 3 comes, you will have that tendency, that tingle in you that tells you, man, come on, this is not working, delete everything. No, that will not happen, okay? Just watch this. Rail 2, you have to know some things about it. Rail 2 carries 240 materials per minute. Per minute is the thing that you have to use. That's how the game is intended to. Don't argue about this in the comment section, please. End of the story. 240 materials means on every rail that you're carrying, you cannot put more than 40 material requests per minute. When it comes to smelters, every smelter for wolfranium, titanium, and calcium needs 60 input going in, and it will give 60 output per minute. You can check out the descriptions inside just to see. See, 2 materials produced every 2 seconds. That's 60 divided by 2, 30, 30, 30, 30, and that makes 60. And so when you are using Rail 2, you can only use 4 of these and give 4 of these materials from this side and get the equal amount from the other side without any clogging on the rails. But here it is. The design, how you're putting these together or next to each other is the thing that will change your life. When you're making smelters, when you're making factories, leave one space in between them. Okay, so whenever I'm now producing, let's say 240 blocks here, 240 blocks, get out of there. Then I make something like this. Look, I left a space. We're gonna use these left spaces. But Duran, I wanna have more than 4 smelters in one lane. Okay, no problem. I'm gonna even show you how to change this into 2-floor buildings later. I wanna produce more. Okay, continue it, but with the same logic. See, one space, there's one space, 1, 2, 3, and you can build 4, and you bring the materials for it with another rail, and you connect it like this. Look, there is still very satisfying. There is no spaghetti, and it keeps it going forever and ever. But this is the easy part, okay? You put material in, you get material out. But what next? You have to produce things with these factories. Okay, after every time that the 4 buildings are sending their material to this side, let me give this electricity so it shows better. Okay. Now we have electricity, so you can actually see where the rails are going as well. So look, all of the materials are coming, input, all of the materials are getting out to the opposite direction. Every 4 of them are sending it to one central place. That central has one connection to the factories that is going to send materials to, and has one connection to a storage. So when these factories are no longer working, the material that you get from here will be stored here, which could be later used and upgraded for sending materials to another factory or another place or whatever you want. Because when you get your rail trees, you can just make this double floor, produce a lot more material, and actually not only feed this factory with it, also send materials to your other factory and do the exact same thing there. But now we go to the first level of what you're going to do with the first materials after your smelters. It's going to come to your factories. As an example, I will be using helium and calcium powder for the glass. So let's assume I want to make glass in the next line after I receive my, let's say, thingies. So what we're going to need first is that we're going to need this little thingy. We're going to need powder. And we're gonna need helium in order to produce glass in these ones. How you do this? You have to calculate from front to back. So, I want glass. What do I need for glass? You look into glass, you say, okay, for producing how many glass in minutes, I need how much material? Look, glass is produced every 3 seconds. This is the calculations you have to go through, by the way, in order to know how many factories you have to put and how much resources you need to put inside of it, so your lines do not get clogged. I have an Excel sheet, you can check it out in the description. It's mostly for Rail 3, but there you can see how you can actually manage your lanes and their input and outputs. It's an Excel sheet, you can study it or watch the videos that I made for it. So look, every 60 seconds, every minute, this thing can produce 20 glass. So that means 20 productions. Then you have to multiply 20 by the material that is here. So, okay, 20 times glass will be produced. 20 times two calcium powders will be consumed here. So 20 multiplied by 2, that is 40. Then it will need 20 helium as well. So that's 60. So for every glass producing factory, you need 60 total input capacity on your rail. What does it mean? It means, again, you cannot have more than 4 furnaces for glass in the same lane. Why? Because this is what happens. When you have 4 of these factories next to each other, like this, now if you put a single factory at the end of this, it will not be able to produce anything because it will not get material. Every single material that is sent with the Rail 2 will be dearly consumed by the first 4, so this 5th one will actually never ever receive any kind of material. But I will show you how to fix that as well. But again, we are leaving a space. We are not using more than 4 because that's the maximum capacity I can put there. And then we come back. We say, okay, how am I going to send helium and powder here now? We go 1 lane back. So how many powder do I need to produce? So it was 40 powder per minute that I need for each of these. That is 444. 160 materials that need to come here as powder. Because, well, 40 multiplied by 4, well, 160. You get it. And then it comes to powder collection. How do we do powder collection? Yes, you can fly. Look, we are gonna turn calcium blocks into powder. Powder is produced 1 per second, or let's say 60 per second again. Or you have, if you divide it to per minute, this actually produces about. Let me show you something. 1 second. Okay, I remember 2 things. That's why I had to stop it. Number 1, I do not prefer having my smelters right where my productions are. So you can make this in another place and bring the materials. And number 2, I'm going to show you, you will be overproducing. So what to do with the overproduction as well. So as I said, we're going to need 160 powder. And for every one of these, we're gonna need 20, 20, 20, 20, 80 helium. So that's the maximum capacity of this lane that can carry resources. We come to the powder, we check the powder. Powder says, I'm produced 60 per minute as well. What you can do, 240 will be produced if you put, but you need 180. Okay, no problem. I built 3 factories. These 3 factories will give me 180, but I will only use 160 for this. The surplus, that 20, because it's going with this lane, you can send again to a buffer. This buffer will send the let's say, surplus of your production to another place. But the rest of it gets connected here. Okay, now I have powder for the next lane. What do I do with the helium? Okay, for helium, let's assume you have a lane that carries the helium here. The helium, easy peasy. You can just do this. There we go. Powder comes from here. Helium comes from here. They're all fed to these machines, and you will be starting to produce your glass very efficiently with full materials input and output used efficiently. But Duran, I want to have more production of glass in the same lane with lane 2. Well, that's, again, easy. Let me show you how to do it. Ta-da! Welcome to double floors! Yay! So, as we said before, every 3 glass production factory consumes the whole 240 capacity of a rail. but that is only if the helium and the powder are carried on the same lane. So what you can do about these ones is that you can have a double-floored connection. So look, you connect this with this, and you connect this like this. See? Now this line will only feed helium to this glass factory, and this lane will only feed powder to these factories. And what does it mean? It means now instead of only and only giving these factories 240 materials, I can make this a 480 capacity factory, which is a rail 3 capacity, while using rail 2. Why? Because, as we said, remember, the 5th of November. See, every minute we are needing about 40 of this little thingy. So, how many we can put here now? 240. Just do that. 6 factories. Doubled. You can have 240 powder coming and 120 helium coming with this. So, instead of the basic 3 glass production, now you can put 6. This one will carry all of your helium. This one will carry all of your calcium powder, for example. And I'm gonna tell you what to do with this to increase the production capacity, even with rail 3. Just bear with me a little bit more. And that's it. Usually at this point of the game, when you're starting to produce the glass and so on, you're gonna start needing to use the glass for producing more things. But Ren, how do I put those in front of these? How do I add those to this? Give me a second though. And are you ready, my dears? Okay, so now we just produced glass. Ta-da! Yeah, we just produced glass, but Ren, the production does not stop at glass. I will need to upgrade this later because, for example, I'll need to produce applicators, which uses both glass and at the same time tube. So do I go and make another tube factory? Nope, you don't need to. This is gonna evolve from a glass factory to a tube factory plus glass, which makes applicators. I'm not going to do the numbers here. You can find the numbers for all productions inside the Excel sheet. So I'm just showing you how to add the factories and evolve this build. So now from a glass production factory, we are moving this into an applicator factory. So applicator. Okay, but applicators need tube. Dred, what do? We look at what tubes need, and in order of how the things were, we're gonna add them to our lanes. And if you're wondering how you can make these double floors, that is the reason why you leave these 2 spaces in between. Look, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then you go to the building itself. And I have a full video about how to make these, by the way. And and we're gonna have there we go. Now that is a double floor to the building as well. That's how you make double floors. I have a full video about it, how to most efficient way of making your smelters, fabricators, and furnaces. But anyways, now talking about tubes. So we had glass. We send glass for applicator. Applicator needs tube. What does tube do? What does tube need? We go to 2nd floor to show you that. Yes, I fly. I don't make things for going up anymore. I have a video about how to fly as well. So, looking at the tube says, man, I'm gonna need titanium sheet and I'm gonna need titanium rod. So, before this lane, now I need to put sheet and rod production there. So I say, okay, so I'm gonna make this much tube. So I'm gonna need that much rod and sheet, which you can find in the Excel sheet. Then you go back to the back line and you just add, okay, I'm producing tube there. So you're gonna make the sheets for it and you're gonna make the rods for it. Numbers are not accurate. I repeat, numbers are not accurate. Do it yourself or watch the Excel sheet. And look, I'm producing the sheets and so on there. I sent them directly here. They come directly inside. They make tubes. Tubes get out. Tubes get carried. And tubes plus the glass, which is coming from here. Glass goes inside the applicator farm, like this. And then tubes are added to the system, just like this. Easy peasy. And when you get rail 3, you know what you have to do? There we go. Let the games begin. All you need to do for making this bigger is this. Yes, you don't need to redesign. You just go around things and make them lane trees. And then say, okay, so I was carrying 240 here, so I have 480 capacity. What can I do? Double it. Yes, you can make exact same number of what you had next to it, and this factory can grow bigger over time. And let's make one more. Let's go one step forward. Okay, let's do it one more time. Okay, I overdid it. Not only I went 1 level forward, I went 2 levels forward. So, we made applicators here and send them forward. Glass goes in here, it becomes applicator. Applicator then has to turn into something. Next level is, let's say, hardening agent. Because hardening agent needs applicators. What I'm going to do, synthetic silicone and sulfur is going to be added from... Sulfur cannot be added to, like, doesn't have to make logical sense too. Because there's no way you can put sulfur production here. You can check out the sulfur production company factory that I made. You will see, it's a very big factory. I'll show you the end results and how this looks like working too, by the way, just wait. So, now we're moving applicators to another. So, another factory is producing synthetic silicone and this one. And another one is producing sulfuric acid. We send them here to this applicator farm. It becomes hardening agent. And the hardening agent, so what do I make with hardening agent? Well, compounder. Let's go. This is the maximum you can do it now. Okay, I want to produce synthetic resin now. So hardening agent is already here. Sulfuric acid is already coming here. How about calcium sheets? This is why this factory is the most amazing thing that you have seen in StarRupture history. Because, well, remember, well, that is the place that makes the applicators. Well, now I add calcium sheet production on top of it. And I also connect that to the compounder. So, with the same factory that I was using for producing the glass, which is the basic material, I evolved it until I made it into a compounder. Now, let me show you what does these things look like when used properly. 1 second. I have to delete all this factory. Ouch. Okay, welcome to the atrocities of modern engineering. This is a factory with the same logic that produces batteries. You can find a link in the description for every single one of these. See, that was one cluster. This is another cluster. This never gets clogged, by the way. It produces about 60 batteries per minute. And it has 0 loss of material. And it works like magic. And this is impeller, nozzle. And after that, that one, actually, that is impeller. This one is nozzle. And that is turbine. Yes, that is the turbine factory. And the turbines are sent there, and after the turbines are sent there, they are sent here for making generators, which are getting materials from another place, and at the end, all of these gather together and makes the resonator here. Yes, and as you can see, no clogging, nothing, everything is beautiful, everything works like clockwork, and you can find an Excel sheet for making all of it. I'm making other factories too, by the way. I already made this untill Resonator, but Resonator is an assembler-based build. So right now I'm working on something for the compounder things. Wait a little bit. That is where I am making it. Yes, it is very beautiful. It is a very beautiful compounder farm there. But yeah, this is what your factories will look like if you follow this. And you will never have to redo anything. And just connect the cargo launchers to the end of your line. Send it, delete cargo launchers. Continue evolving your factories forever and ever. If this was helpful, ladies and gentlemen, please help my small channel by subscribing and liking the video, and sparing some hypes if you have some. YouTube loves those. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to leave a comment. I answer all the comments, or just say hi. I would like to chat. Let me see where you're from. Most of you guys are from Germany and United States. So now we see where the engineers are. Yeah, we have England. Like I have England, France, Germany, but mostly you guys are from the US. So, well, I see where you're where you're coming from. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. And as always, thanks for the likes, thanks for the hypes, comments, memberships, and supers. If it's night time, I hope you sleep like babies. And if it's daytime, I hope you just use this and make your life easier. Just do it. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, but man, it will save you so much headache. Deleting factories. Never do it again. See you in the next video, fellas. See you in the next video.